Hi, doctor.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Yeah,
Good morning, doctor. How are you?
how are
How's
you?
everyone?
Fine. Thank you. What about you, sir?
All good?
Everyone in the family? Very nice, very nice.
Everyone's good.
Yeah, we have another 3 minutes to go, maybe.
Sure.
We'll see.
You can take a couple more if required.
Yeah, because a few of them are joining in Facebook also. Facebook, there are
Yes.
some 50 or odd.
Sure, we can certainly wait. This session is for them. I think it's worth waiting. They should definitely
Yeah,
feel that they should get the importance that they really need. They're the brightest mind of the country. As simple as that.
absolutely.
So you are logging in from college or you're logging in from home?
I'm at home, but this is college login only.
Right.
But I was also like working from home, online classes.
Oh, online classes? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you use Zooms regularly? Is this your
yeah,
tool for
it's
online
no, this
classes?
regularly.
Right.
Yeah, regularly we use this. Uh, you use Cisco?
Well, we use Microsoft Teams
Acha,
because
Microsoft
we
Teams.
have a lot of
Okay.
data also. We put a lot of data also there. We felt that
Okay.
it
Okay.
was extremely reliable. We use Microsoft.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but I'm pretty sure Zoom is also giving good experience so far, so good.
Yes. Yes. There's one in our own Namaste app. I have not used it. Uh, let's see.
Uh, I think one of the things that you will find is, doctor, that if you like something that you don't experiment at our age.
Okay.
When you're extremely young, you're very experimental. Even if you like something, you start using it, you start exploring it. But at your age and my age, if you like something, you stick to it. So I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that would have probably stopped you from using Namaste. But give it a try if you get time.
Yeah. Yeah. We will.
And do let me know. Your reviews really matter.
Sure. Mm.
So the students who are logging in, they are your students?
Yeah. From my students as well as outside college also.
Right. Okay. So everyone has an access to this.
Yes. Yes. There are a couple of whom I know. Yeah, I could find few which are those are not my students, but they're regularly turning up for all these webinars.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
That's a good sign.
yes. So share screen is I think you have been given.
Yes, I have, but I've got nothing to share. I told you, right? It's like a free flow
Okay.
discussion. Probably I want to keep the presentation away from this discussion. I try to keep it very free flow.
So there is no need of share screen. No need of this thing, na PowerPoint, no share
No,
screening.
no,
Yeah,
nothing,
chalo.
nothing
Great.
of that sort. If I have to share my experience, then I would remember that experience. Presentation से कौन तो strong हो जाएगा.
Let's make a call. I'll give you as a co-host maybe.
Sure.
Sandeep sir,
Yes, doctor.
you have been given as a co-host. Just check, sir.
Yes, I can see co-host written.
Right. So this will, make you to mute, unmute whenever you find the disturbances. So that will be easy for you. Even I'll do it once your session starts. So
Sure. Doctor, I hope the voice is very clear, right?
yeah. Here we have almost 50 and Facebook also 50. So 100 are there almost. So every session we start at 11. So that was the problem. Like anyhow, 6:51. So can we start, sir? Because it's 10:34. So can you unmute?
I'm okay, doctor. Whenever you want, we can start.
It's because you're going to. You said there's a meeting or there's some schedule for you after the meeting after this webinar.
I can be here till 12:15. So if you want to wait for 5 more minutes, I'm okay with that.
Okay. I was remembering like at 12. You said
Yeah,
last
I
time.
actually
So,
moved that meeting to 12:30 so that I could probably have
Sure.
with with the
So
college
kind.
students till quarter past.
Okay.
For 15 minutes, I probably can take a coffee break.
Okay.
Mondays are
Thanks a
normally
lot.
no. I
So
think
kind of you.
it's
Thank you
my
very much.
pleasure. It is my pleasure to be here.
No, this I think most of them were eagerly waiting as I put when this poster. So a couple of responses were there like Monday, the first day of the week, and then we are they are really waiting for that. Management people will join.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pretty close to them because I'm also a commerce graduate, so I can
Okay.
relate to commerce and MBA people.
Yeah. There are some faculty also joining.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The faculty also joining.
That is wonderful.
Ma'am Kanakadurga Garu, if you can unmute and say hi. Kanakadurga ma'am. Hello, Kanakadurga ma'am. Anyway, we were colleagues at KL University, and then she moved to state government university.
Oh, is it?
ANU, Acharya Nagarjuna University.
Right.
36.
Doctor, I think you under forecasted. The number of participants are relatively higher than your prediction.
No, they are no. To be on the frank note, they are less
Oh, is
because
it? Okay.
11 almost, like we have 200 to 300, and then after 15 minutes you'll find 700 odd.
Oh, I
So
thought yesterday
altogether,
we were discussing 100. I think 100 is already crossed, right?
yeah, but I'm talking about both all together, Facebook and
Oh,
this.
okay. Okay.
So that's what they might be thinking, 11 or what, I don't know. Anyhow,
No, we can wait for 5 more minutes if you want, or we can.
that's what.
Sure, doctor. Take your time.
Yeah, 2 more minutes. We'll start sharp at 10:40, sir.
Absolutely. We can begin in the stretch our session till 12:15, or probably I can give you 5 more minutes because I need at least 10 minutes to make a cup of tea
No, yeah,
and
yeah.
have it.
So no, yeah.
But yeah.
Good. You'll be used to all these meetings nowadays, right? You're very
Oh,
busy
yes,
schedule.
yes, of course. Monday is always busy because you plan everything on the first day and then you probably execute it. So Monday is all about meetings actually, and meeting for me is completely waste. Unlike this connect, which is so heartwarming, overwhelming, and then getting to meet with the brightest people. This is value. The other meetings are completely waste of time sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's a part and parcel of life, right? That's a package, be it corporate or
Yes.
anything.
No, it happens in the educational institutions also.
Yes,
Big
it's common.
universities. Yes.
Absolutely. I've been there. Yeah, I know. It's not
Sometimes
easy.
we like even there's no result. There is no,
Not sometimes, most of the
nothing.
times, actually. Most of the times. I've been to most of the times where a meeting finishes, meeting longs for 2 hours, and the meeting finishes with an objective that next time again we'll have a meeting to discuss it.
Cool.
Some meetings you can stop, some meetings you cannot stop, but that's how life is, right?
Yes. Oh, questions are pouring. There's one question which have already come. That's, I think he has given me privately. He's my student. So
Right.
good.
Well, I can tell you this, I'll try to answer the question. If I don't get an answer, then I will go back and come back to you.
Very nice.
But
Very
yeah,
nice.
it'll be nice if
But
the questions,
I
encouraging
hope,
signs that the questions are before the session. That's encouraging signs.
yeah, a couple of questions have come anyhow.
That's good.
Now she has mentioned in the chat group, yes, she is a Kanakadurga Acharya Nagarjuna University. Very nice. Madam, if you can listen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, very good morning, ma'am. Very nice. Very nice to see you.
Good morning, sir. And good morning for the guest also.
Likewise. Good morning to all of you and good morning to you, doctor.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
How are you, ma'am?
Fine, sir. How are your kids?
So, yeah, fine. But very nice, ma'am. At least, after so many this things,
yes.
invitation, I tell you, sir, I was not, I was telling real thing, like Sandeep sir, I've told you, like most of the people are waiting for this. So madam is the first time she is attending my webinar.
Oh, wonderful.
The topic is so
actually,
nice, sir. Positive mindset. This is.
I hope I can do some justice to the topic. Topic is absolutely great. And I would not take the credit. The credit goes to doctor for choosing that topic.
No.
I
It was
thinking
you.
of something else.
It was
Credit
you
goes
who
to both the host and as well as the speaker also, sir.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
So we'll start, sir, please. So happy morning to all of you. On behalf of Gates Institute of Management and Sciences, I welcome you all, especially our today's speaker, the great, the stalwart of the industry, Sandeep sir, and all the participants. I really thank you for taking time out and joining us. Now, this webinar is all about mindset. So let me first read out Sandeep sir's intro. So he is almost having 13 years of professional experience in leading and driving operational excellence and process improvements for significant financial benefits and customer satisfaction. Sir is certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, certified on robotics process automation, certified ISO lead auditor. He is also certified Scrum Master and trained on design thinking. More than 1,000 professionals, Sir has trained on Lean and Six Sigma. He has successfully completed more than 100 plus Lean Sigma projects with savings of more than 10 million US dollars. That's huge. And he is generally visiting in Taiwan colleges like BITS Pilani, IIT Madras, and Thapa University. Sir has single-handedly designed and established quality assurance framework in China for one of the largest broking firm. He is also managing Fortune 50 clients such as Google, Apple, Aviva, Tata, etc., and steered the strategic improvement initiatives like Six Sigma, Lean, automation, RPA, and systems and design thinking. So with this brief note, I invite you to take over the session, sir.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, everyone. Firstly, I want to thank Doctor and the college for giving me an opportunity of coming to this platform and connecting with the brightest minds of the country. Secondly, I want to thank everyone who got up a little early actually, and instead of 11 o'clock decided that they probably could manage and attend my session a half an hour early. I can imagine how difficult it is, especially on Monday. Thank you so much to all of you, and I hope, as I was telling Doctor, that I could do justice to your sacrifices and the efforts that Doctor has put in. Doctor has been very kind, and God has been very kind in giving me opportunities of working with great organizations. Doctor has already mentioned. But this is not about my professional journey. It's about the mindset, which is extremely, extremely important these days to have a focus on, because of which what's happening around the pandemic, the stress level around recent news on the tragedy that happened in Ladakh, and of course, the suicide case that everyone is talking about these days of Sushant Singh Rajput, who's one of the brilliant guys and academically very, very strong. So I think it's extremely important that we probably understand and realize the importance of positive mindset, and understanding and doing that is not rocket science. I would not open up a book. I would not give you lectures. Very honestly, I'm a consultant. I believe in application. But I can tell you this, that anything that you guys are facing, because I'm imagining that because of the pandemic, the opportunity that you guys were anticipating from the organizations, those probably have slowed down. It has certainly happened. Business has certainly been affected. There have been retrenchment cases happening across. So people have all the reason to get worried. But these challenges are not unique. It's not something that has happened before. That has not happened before. These have happened before, and I can share few of the things that I have done whenever I faced our challenges, and I will also encourage you to probably have that view. And please ask questions, very, very important, because if you don't ask question, it'll be like a downloading session. As I was telling you to Doctor, I would tell you also, I would try to answer all the questions, will do my best. But if there is any question that I don't have an answer to, I will certainly come back. The
So
first thing, yes, Doctor.
I thought of speaking here at just for a few seconds.
Sure.
I assure, like, in life, you want that single moment, a trigger here or trigger there, some moment here which makes you, so this is the moment. I tell you, because most of you were really waiting for this session to have an interaction with Sandeep sir. I'll assure you on behalf of Gates as well as Sandeep sir that you are going to take away a lot from this session. And this single moment, this single webinar will certainly change your lifestyle. And I tell you, you need to be very communicative. Whenever you can just, you have questions, just drop in the chat box. If you're not asking, I'll jot it down, and at the end of the session, if sir permits, we will take up that. Thank you, sir. Sir, you can continue, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And again, Doctor has been extremely kind in building up a lot of expectations. I hope I can stand up to them. I've not made any presentations. There's no preparation made for this session, guys, because I wanted to share my life experiences, and I don't need a presentation for that, because these things have happened to me. These things have happened to everyone, actually. You know, ups and downs are a part and parcel of life. I want to start by telling that the first thing, if you want to think about mindset, is the first thing that you should always feel during this time, especially, is to ensure that you value your life. That's the first thing. Forget about anything else. And I can give you an example. I can give you a real-time example, my life story. 6 7 years back, when I was starting my career, I did not start with a great organization. I would not name that organization, but I did not start with a great organization. I had very less to contribute. I had very less to learn. And at the same
Sandeep, sir,
point,
audio is stuck, I suppose.
guys, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Doctor, can you hear me? Hello?
Sir, we can hear you.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Sonali, for confirming it. So I'll start again. I'll start again. 7 years back, 6 years back, I was working for an organization where I was not learning much. The role that I had was not a role that I would be very proud of, because I wasn't contributing much. Uh, so there was a very less confidence that I had in what I was doing. Parallelly, there were situations in my family. You know, I remember very clearly that at that point of time I came out of dengue. When I came out of dengue, most of my family member fell sick, not because of dengue, but because of some reasons. My father had to undergo a surgery, and I was based out of Delhi at that time. So there was a turmoil happening everywhere in my family, and my wife was a teacher in a school based out of Delhi. She is MSc Mathematics. She was a primary school mathematics teacher. And I was dropping her in the morning. I was driving, I took her to the school, dropped her. I was coming back and I was thinking about what's happening to my life. And I was thinking about all these situations and I feel what's happening to me. There's just no way I can come out of it. Guys, there was a divider and towards the left there was a blue line. And do you remember, if you guys know, a lot of people I know are from North India, blue line buses, they're very famous or infamous for driving very rashly. And there was a bus who was approaching by. I did not even see. I saw that bus when I was in the middle, and the bus was approaching me with a speed of 60 to 65 miles per hour. That was extremely fast because it was early morning. They would normally rash in early morning. There's no traffic, so it was extremely fast. I don't know what happened to me. With the great grace of God, I had my step on the accelerator at the right time. The bus brushed my car, and I used to drive Santro at that time. The bus brushed my car, and somehow, because of my push to accelerator, I survived. From that time, I realized for the next half an hour, I had no stress. I had nothing. I was not thinking about anything else except the fact that I am so lucky that I'm safe. And I started thanking God. And I realized at that point of time that the most important thing that we have is our life. And if you have your life with you, till the time you have your life with you, you can make amends in your life. You can make changes in your life. That was one of a bad experience that I have in one of the organization. And after that, with the hard work, with the great leaders that I got, with the great mentors I got, I started achieving heights in my professional career. But I just cannot forget the fact that if I wouldn't have pressed accelerator. I wouldn't be here with you guys. And from that time, I decided that I would definitely I'll ensure all the time that I value my life. I would not question my life. I would not take away my life because of stress, because of negativity around me, because of challenges. Anything and everything can be overcome in your life if you have life with you. There's also a saying in Hindi, I'm sure you guys know that, Jaan hai to jahan hai. I am a big fan of Ratan sir. He awarded me something. I won a national award for my continuous improvement project. I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big fan of the industrialist, Murthy sir and all. And they clearly said that this year is all about living. Live your life. Forget about the money. Forget about the losses. Forget about anything else. Just live to the fullest. Just preserve your life, because if you can take care of your life, if your life is there, you can achieve everything. That's the first thing I would always suggest, guys. And the reason is, you guys know the things that are happening around, the news that is happening around, the YouTube, when you open up, you see the news that's happening around. Those news are not very positive, actually. And somewhere down the line, when your life is difficult, when you feel depressed, when there's a lot of challenge, those things do not do anything good to your mindset. And you always think, this is not the good thing that is happening. And then people start taking decisions, people start taking actions. Please always think. I'm also a big fan of Sadhguru Maharaj. I'm sure you guys have heard his speech. Pretty amazing. And one of the things that he says is that anybody who thinks of anything, who doesn't value his life, ask that person to close his mouth and close his nose for 2 minutes. And that person will realize the value of life very quickly. So that's the first lesson that I have, guys. The second lesson and the second experience I have is have faith. Now, faith is pretty easy to us when things go very smooth, when bills are getting paid, when you get placements in great organizations, when you get great scores, when your parents are happy with you, when you are being recognized as a performer, when you are a straight A student. You don't need a faith. But faith is needed when you're mentally and spiritually down. And that is extremely important to have faith. Yeah. Because always remember one thing, that if God, and I believe in God, I'm pretty sure one of the things that we probably can always pin our hopes on is something that we've not seen, but gives a lot of positivity. If something would have happened to you, if God wouldn't wanted you to be here, you wouldn't be here, right? He's pulling you from these challenges, but you need to ensure that you have faith in yourself. So have faith with yourself. Very, very important. For that, you could do anything. Ensure that you read something nice, ensure you read something positive. There are a lot of case studies, a lot of legends around you that who have come out of uncertainties, who've come out of adversities, and who've been very successful in life, not only in business but also in sports. Watch these things instead of watching something on YouTube where people are debating about what had happened to that person. They're just making money. And especially the kind of culture that global has, no, not in India, everywhere. Negativity really, really, is very vivid. You could see negativity. You don't need focus for it. But positivity, of course, you need to have a lot of focus. You need to have a lot of courage to go towards it. It's not easy to maintain faith when things like this are happening around. But I can guarantee you this: if you keep your focus towards the positive thing that you can do, then trust you me, you would not need, or these negative things would not do anything to you. The third thing is, please take ownership of your life and have a creative tension instead of emotional tension. And I can tell you a difference, and I'll also tell you something that has happened to me. Guys, emotional tension is when you talk that, okay, you know what, I'm about to finish my MBA, about to finish my college, and I was planning to get a job. I was planning to support my family, or I was planning to do something in life. I had huge ambitions for myself. But because of COVID, because of pandemic, business are being affected. The opportunity that I thought I would get, those opportunities are not there. Oh my God, what should I do? And then what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? This shouldn't have happened. That should have happened. This is emotional tension, which is very common to all of us. The problem with emotional tension is that it'll always give you a reason for what you're not at this moment. And the problem with that is that when you start blaming others or blaming a situation, you are in a victim mode. And when you're in a victim mode, it's like a circle, it's like a spiral. You never come out of it. You'll always blame someone, not now, but once things are better, then also you'll blame something. You'll always find a reason or a shadow to blame, and you'll never come out of it. And those people do not go anywhere. Contrary to that is called a creative tension. Creative tension is identifying where you are, where you want to go, and how would you go ahead and probably achieve that. And that's extremely important. Guys, in 2016, I was working for an organization and I was managing Google as my client. Now, Google is very high on digitization and very high on automation, and Google has 80% of the processes that are non-monetized. So they do not money out make they don't make money out of those processes. So when Google started focusing on those processes, they decided that they will automate a lot of processes. When they decided to automate a lot of processes, we realized that most of the processes that are in that purview are being managed by us. And when they started automating, we realized that we needed less people. Now, when you need less people, of course, because a bot or a software bot or robot, whatever you call it, is doing a job, then you do not need leadership support also. And that's where the information came to me that Sandeep, there is a possibility that we may not need your role in Hyderabad because your role or most of the things that people are doing can be automated. However, Google has a presence in Gurgaon. I'm sure you guys would know, and we would want you to work there. Now, I'm also Delhiite, guys. I was born in Delhi. I was brought up in Delhi NCR and traveled to Pune, US, Europe, and then settled down in Hyderabad. My wife loves Hyderabad, loves the weather. And I said that I have an opportunity to go to Gurgaon, unlike others who do not have an opportunity. And I've got my own house in Noida. I will save a lot of money from rental, but my wife loves this place. Why should I sacrifice what she really wants just because I need to have a job? Why can't I find a job here? I've got so much of skills. And that is when I realized that while I have to let go of this particular job, I'm really good at explaining the work that I do. I'm really good at giving people the knowledge that I've gained on the projects that I've done on Lean, Six Sigma, automation, robotics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and I have the case studies. Why can't I start and share this knowledge and probably have a cash flow by myself where I could go ahead and ensure that I have a cash flow while I'm searching for a better job and I do not have to question my survival. And that was creative tension, guys. I started connecting with few people. The person who recommended me for this session, and he is my mentor, his name is Mr. Naveen. He recommended me to a very small, decent institute, which is very close to Hyderabad. In fact, opposite to cyber base building. And I started training them on weekends. I started training them and training them. And one day I trained someone who was the plant head of Tata Coffee, which is in Thupran, Hyderabad. He was the head. His name was Vincent. He was a Christian, and he loved the way I explained the concept. And he said, "Sandeep sir, can you please come and do a consulting in my plant? I think that I may need some help, and I think you could support." And I went to his plant and I did a consulting, and of course, thanks to the support of the people there and the continuous improvement DNA that the people had, and the Tata, of course, is very much cultural organization, and people are very much aligned towards driving their companies, driving their process to an improved level. The consulting was a success. It was so much successful that in a month, I got a call from the Theni plant. Just for your knowledge, Tata has two plants. One is in Thupran, Hyderabad. One is in Theni, Tamil Nadu. They both produce coffees, and those coffees are used by Starbucks. And Starbucks is a joint venture. And when I did the consulting there, they also loved it. And from now onwards, from that time, 2016 to now, I'm a principal lean consultant for Tata. And that's where they recommended me to go ahead and speak with Dr. Sundar. Dr. Sundar is a dean of BITS Pilani. sure you guys would know. And I had a connect with him, and he said that, Sandeep, you probably good support, because we really want our people to probably have this mindset of how you do things. They may need it, because even if they join as an interim, as an intern, but it's great if they would have a continuous improvement mindset, because they can apply a lot of things, and that could probably work out as a differentiator when they're appearing in competition with others. And that's where my journey with BITS Pilani started. And then he recommended me to IIT Madras, IIM Guwahati. So in 2 years, 2 3 years, or especially that time when I was looking for a job, and I got a job in 2 months, but I had so many good engagements that I may not have earned the amount of money or what I was earning with my job, but I got two things. One, my confidence was restored. I felt that my skills are there and I can get a job anywhere, because if these these top institutes are calling me and they're appreciative of what I'm delivering, that means I have a good skill. And second, because of the cash flow, I never went desperate. But that all happened because I applied creative tension. I did not cry on someone. I did not say that this is not happening to me. Why is this happening to me? This shouldn't have happened to me. I've already had so many hardships in my life. I decided, how can I make things better? How can I come out of it? And that's where all of this happened. So please ensure that you take ownership of your life, do not have emotional tension, and have creative tension. And the last but not the least is ensure that you invest time in self-learning. And guys, this is the best time to learn. I'll be very honest with you. The industries and most of the people are unfocused. This also is a great opportunity for you to identify what's there in the market. Everything is open these days. You go on YouTube, you search something, you get everything. Starting from any methodology that you want to learn, you don't have to enroll courses. And there are a lot of, gold mine courses that are there. For an example, Stanford, which is one of which is the best, or from a consulting perspective, or from a certification perspective, is world's number one. They are offering 65 plus courses at $49. That's it. And they're only charging for the certificate. That's it. They're not charging for anything. It is not instructor led. It is all video. But imagine a course that normally will come for like 25,000. You will get the course for 3,000, and you could learn that. You go on YouTube, you search something, you'll get a lot of videos, great videos, where you could probably go ahead and learn a lot of things. You could definitely go ahead and enroll yourself to LinkedIn Learning, which is it has a free learning portal. You could always go ahead and ensure that you probably learn a lot of things. So there's a lot of things. And guys, in a nutshell, if you do this, if you take care of your life, if you have faith, if you have a creative tension, and you have ownership towards your life, and these are not something which are pervasive only in this time, this is used and these are applicable throughout. And if you are continuously learning something, then you would not have a problem. And last but not the least, and again, my own experience, is have a better company, have a positive company. Ensure that you have good friends, ensure that you have positive friends. And I can also share the last experience that I have, is that there was a time where I was in Noida, and I was working in Noida, and I was a little less on confidence. I was looking for an opportunity and I couldn't get one. One of my friends was very sharp. He's still my friend. He's a great guy. But it's the learning, I'm telling you, that and he came from great organizations. So he told me that, Sandeep, there are a few companies who are approaching me, and I think you have a nice profile. I will recommend you to those organizations. And I said, great. Why don't you go ahead and share my profile, or at least share their contact number with me whenever they connect with you? Guys, it 2 weeks happened, 3 weeks happened, a month happened. He did not turn up. And after 2 months, I realized that if I have to do something for myself, I have to do it myself. And I also have to ensure that I have a better friend circle. Guys, you need to have friend circles who understand your passion, who keep you positive, who push you, who encourage you, who inspire you, but not someone who probably are adding fuel to your depression, who will also support you when you probably are blaming someone or sharing reason. And that's very easy to see. One of the easiest way to know this, guys, and this is something I do, is to think of the number of phone calls you make in a day or the number of people that you talk in a day and think and evaluate, is that person talking positive, questioning me when I am talking negative, or is that person fueling me when I'm talking something which is not constructive, which is not positive? If you guys could do all of this, I am pretty sure that this period or any period would not have any impact on you. You may not get an opportunity, or you may get an opportunity with an organization, but you will realize that you have learned something. And when you realize that in a period or at any given point of time, you have got some benefit or there's some benefit that you've achieved, you don't feel as sorry as you or as people normally feel, where they just do not achieve anything and they see that the life is completely on loss in a P&L account. That's my learning, guys. I will stop here and I will certainly take questions.
Yeah, all the participants are requested to ask question. You can unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can just drop your question in the chat box. So there is a question. Sandeep sir. Hello.
I see the question. I see the question. I want to know which field is this? I see the question. Ravi, can you also type your stream, your knowledge area?
Ravi Pratap, can you just type there?
So I'll take the first question, and the first question is that we want to do something for the nation. There is nothing for us, and what should we do? Ravi, I am also an MBA, by the way. I'm an MBA from Symbiosis, and I would say that MBAs have a lot of opportunities. But before that, I also want to tell you that when you say that there is nothing there, it's again a mindset, Ravi. And I can give you an example right away, and you guys can all relate to it. I'm sure you guys all know or you've heard of a person called Elon Musk. Elon Musk, runs so many companies, but the two companies that he's extremely famous for is Tesla and SpaceX. And I would talk about Tesla right now. Tesla is electronic vehicle manufacturing organization. In 2000, Forbes declared that there is no demand, or there will be no demand for electronic vehicles. And you guys can search this out. In 2003, Tesla came, and I'm sure you guys know that Tesla right now is the most valuable electronic vehicle organization, with a share going to $1,000. It is equivalent to Amazon and higher than Google and Apple and other trillion organizations. So the first thing is that do not think, because the time, and as soon as you think that there is no scope, you're closing all the opportunities. And maybe there are opportunities, and there are definitely opportunities, but you're closing opportunities completely. MBA is a very skillful field. One of the things that MBA people always do, and one of the things that I always do, is that they manage a lot of things. The management part comes in handy all the time, be it a people management or a project management. MBA happens to be a foundation. So do not think that it is anything less than any other thing. We read a lot about programming or artificial intelligence or machine learning. MBA is equivalent there. you know I know so many MBAs and a lot of friends that I have who manage things, who manage people who probably are more intelligent than him, but he has an expertise in managing people, managing processes. And you always need people to manage things. You always do. So MBAs are extremely important. What I would always suggest you is to go ahead and do a little search as to where you probably could get an opportunity. And along with that, what is it that you probably could do that will increase your value? I always suggest, because I interact with a lot of MBA people, is that since MBA people manage a lot of processes, any understanding on continuous improvement methodologies, be it lean or ISO or something which is very simple, which is a mindset based, which is not as complicated as artificial intelligence from a programming standpoint, I'm saying, they should do that. Because if you have a bend of managing people, process, and also have a bend of continuously improving a process, you are a very successful managers. So please do not cut yourself short. As I mentioned, have a positive mindset. Just forget about what you said. Imagine that you've not said that. Imagine that instead of saying that there's no scope, you say that there is a lot of scope, but I may not have a clarity about what scope I have. So I need to do a lot of research. Connect with better people. Go on LinkedIn. I'm sure you guys have a LinkedIn account. If you don't have it, please create one. Create a LinkedIn account and go ahead and search with people, connect with the right people, put a post on LinkedIn and tell them then, guys, this is what I've been doing. What do you suggest? And you will realize that there are a lot of people who give you a lot of suggestions, a lot of guidelines. Please do that. And I hope, and I'm pretty sure that will certainly help. Okay, I would, Doctor, can you say the question, because I see a lot of questions coming in. If you could say the questions are unique questions, is there a possibility? Or let me pick one, and I can see Anudeep. His question is how to take every situation in positive manner and why. My stream is MBA. I have a counter question for you. Why shouldn't you not take a situation positive? What will you get if you take a situation negative? If I tell you that if you do this, for an example, you will achieve this, will that be something that will ensure that you are most positive? Then I tell you that if you don't do this, then this will happen. What motivates us? Looking at something which is positive or looking at something negative? And with my experience, I always think that it's positive, because when you look at positive, then you always are inspired and you stick to what you're doing. Actually, you have no fear, and fear is no good, guys. If you have no fear, you'll realize that you will have your complete focus. You will not be distracted. And being positive is extremely important, because if you ask yourself, you would not want to sit with someone, you would not want to sit with someone, or you don't want to read something which is negative. Negative thing really attracts. I can be very honest here, and I can also accept it because it happened with me also. Because somewhere down the line, that keeps a reason to avoid something and makes you relieved automatically, that what that person is unreasonable to me, because I did everything but he's completely unreasonable to me. That ensures uh, that I do not take any ownership. And ownership is not easy. Ownership is a pressure. Ownership is about discipline. Ownership is about taking care of yourself, and that's not easy. That's definitely much more difficult than blaming something and getting away from it. But not thinking positive will not take you anywhere. Having fear may take you somewhere, because also people also people.
Muhammad Shafiuddin, can you just mute yourself? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, doctor. So that's the point, that if you have a fear and you see that, okay, Sandeep, fear really helps me, and fear, I may not be positive all the time, but fear also helps me achieve something. But I can promise you one thing, that once the fear is gone, once the reason for which your fear is gone, you will come back. And I've seen this in organizations that sometimes become desperate to improve, desperate to get clients. And because they think that they will lose a client, because of that desperation, they work really hard and they also improve. But once they realize that, okay, the client is not going anywhere and the fear is not there, their performance come back to where they are, and it applies to the individual as well. So I'll always suggest to be positive, and you will have better results, and you will have a consistent result, and you will see sustainability, as against the fact if you have a negative mindset or if you have fear driving you towards improvement. Okay, I see someone saying this, sir, I want to treat the mental illness of the, just 1 second. Okay. 1 second. So I want to treat the mental illness of the people, which courts I have to prefer. Well, Reshma, that's a very good question. And I'm not from science. I'm not sure if you are from, but I'm not from science. But mental illness is a condition. For me, it's never a disease. It's a state of mind. And for that, you could do any course. I mean, I am here sharing my positive or sharing my experience with you, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I am not a mind shrink. I am someone who drive continuous improvement, but continuous improvement is a positive mindset. Unless and until you're not positive mentally, you cannot think continuous improvement. I would suggest whatever course you're doing, whatever thing you're doing, just be positive and just ensure that you have an expertise in that in you, and be very positive in your life. Because if you're positive in your life, first thing first, you'll always remember, you'll always see that your life also have ups and downs. There will be struggle, there will be success. But if you're positive, you can turn those ups and downs into a lesson learned, emerge as a winner, and then you can go ahead and share your experience with the people. You don't have to do a course to cure someone's mental illness. You just have to be a positive person. You just have to be hard work. You just have faith. You just should take ownership, and you should continuously improve yourself in whichever stream you are. Even if you're not doing something, even if you are not academically doing something, but you're positive in life and you have all the traits that we've talked about, you could still go ahead and become, you know, someone who probably can discuss and cure mental illness. Because I know a lot of people, I'm pretty sure you guys also know, and a lot of people would also agree that there are a lot of people who are extremely educated. There are a lot of people who probably have a lot of degrees, but they are fighting depression, or sometimes they lose to depression. That means course is not an answer, or course does not put you to a position where you could go ahead and cure or, you know, help someone who is fighting a state of mind which is negative. It's all in your mind, how you manage your life, how you tackle it. And if you can manage it with positive, as I said earlier, it becomes lesson learned, and you can share with the people, and of course you can encourage and motivate people. And that's how you probably can contribute towards society. But that's a very good thought, Reshma. I wish you all the best for that. Okay, there's a question. I see.
Sandeep, sir, my voice is audible?
Yes, your voice is audible, doctor.
Yeah, because prior to that, a couple of questions asked by Mr. J. Krishnamurthy.
Okay, I have to do a lot of scroll, doctor. Is there a possibility that you
I'll
can
do that.
call? Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you so
So
much.
there's a couple of questions asked by J. Krishnamurthy. The first one was like, what is a positive mindset and attitude? He wants some, meaning or the definition. And the second one is positive psychology just about making people happy?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. But I'll try to answer this because both of the definitions are experience-based definition. There is no concrete or a book-based definition for it. Starting with the positive mindset. A positive mindset is actually a mindset which approaches every situation with a positivity and does not stresses when the situation is untenable or the situation is challenging. Someone who has control over the negative emotions or emotions per se. Not very easy to get. I've seen very less people who have that. Uh, People who probably can control their actions, people who can control their emotions, especially people who can control their thoughts. They actually are people who have a positive mindset, because at the end of the day, your mind creates a lot of thoughts. And if you can control those thoughts, and if you can control the way you think, the way you behave, somewhere down the line, you have a positive mindset. The example that I always have is like people like Sadhguru. Speak with him, you'll realize that nothing makes him extremely happy, nothing makes him extremely sad. If you ask him questions, he would not be rattled by a question. He would answer all the questions the right way. I've seen very less people who have that. As I said, it is very, very rare. But again, it's a journey, guys. It's actually a journey. And for me, positive mindset is never a destination, because it's not very easy. But again, if you could ensure that if something is happening in your life and you take it in a positive way, like people always talk about worry and concern, and worry people say is negative, concern is positive. You're worrying about something because you think, what would have happened to that person. You always think negative, because if someone has not come to home, if you're missing your friend has not come home, if your family member said that they will come in this time and they've not come in this time, and during pandemic, you think what would have happened, and your mind all automatically starts creating situation in your head, which is not reality. That's negative. But positive, the concern is when you call that person and say, where are you? And okay, I've given it a try, and let me call someone else also. And you ensure that want to know as to where that person is, and you do not overthink. That is positive mindset. Not very easy, guys. Though I am someone who's giving you my experience, I have also failed, and I still fail. There are situations I still fail. So, which is why it is not something which is attained very easily. It takes a long time. Our life is such that we come across a lot of situations, a lot of challenges, but it's a journey. It's a day by day practice, every hour by hour practice. Something really helps is meditation, very honestly speaking. You must have heard it from a lot of people, but I have practiced it, I've been practicing it. It really, really helps. It keeps you calmer. It kills the preconceived notion that gets created very quickly as soon as you find something negative. It also stops a lot of daydreaming, because that's also very, very important, because that also excites you a lot and probably creates unnecessary hope that may not be true, and but keeps you calm. So that's what I would suggest, and that's what I would say, that it's a journey, it's a day by day, but meditation really helps. The second question was more about the positive psychology. Am I correct, doctor? That was the question.
Yeah.
And can you repeat the second part of the question, because I'm sorry,
Is
I've forgotten
positive
that.
is positive psychology just about making people happy?
uh no, guys. Positive psychology for me is a state of mind, but you cannot make anyone happy. Always remember this. And you guys would also know that there are a lot of people around you who are happy, but for some reasons you may have some challenges. I would say something which is very straight but very blunt. Guys, your happiness, your life, and your heart is your responsibility. There are people, there are ways that you can forget the challenges that you're going, but it is not, nobody can make you happy. I can be very honest with you. They probably can put a smile on your face for some time. You watch something comedy, you probably watch something nice that can probably excite you a little bit and distract you a little bit. But once that is done, and if you have a mindset who's always thinking negative and who's thinking about what's happening around and always negative, you'll always be unhappy. That happiness will always be for some time. So you cannot make anyone happy, and that's the reason I'm probably putting a little more efforts here, so that you guys do not think that you can make anyone happy. No, you cannot make anyone happy. You can put a smile on someone's face, but you cannot make anyone happy. And because it is so basic, you guys know the difference between what I'm trying to say, I'm pretty sure. uh, Coming back to positive psychology, well, again, it is with you as to how you approach things. I do not see a lot of difference between a positive approach, positive mindset, and positive psychology, because all three, or positive attitude, all three or four are around your mind as to how you perceive something, how you approach something, how you think if you have a situation, how do you extrapolate something, how much do you go and over imagine something? How much do you go or overthink about something? It's around that. But again, it is absolutely your responsibility. It's your state of mind. And as I mentioned earlier as well, that it takes a lot of practice. But once you start doing that, once you start having faith, and one of the things that really helps in all the cases, and I know that I'm just moving away from the question, but again, a lot of questions on mind is creeping all the time. And I've already told you a few things that have helped me, and I'm a real life example, guys. Uh, is read, try to read something. Try to read something interesting. Try to read something that you really like. It would take a little time. Reading is not something which comes very easy to people, but try to read for half an hour. And second thing is, if you guys probably do a little bit exercise, try to walk or run, especially run or brisk walk. I've realized that when you start running or when you start to a brisk walk, you will realize after that you would not think about anything. Walking, running, meditation, reading something, these are things that if you do it continuously, keep you away from negative and your mind becomes extremely positive. Try to do
Yeah.
that, and that would really, really help, guys. I hope that answers the
Yes.
question.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely, sir. There's one more question by V. Shivani. She is
Mhm.
asking, like, how does spirituality impacts the development of positive mindset?
That's a very good question again. Uh, that's a very good question, and I'll try to answer, guys. I'm not an expert, and I'm very new to this, but I do a little bit of meditation. I have started reading Gita also, guys. If you believe that faith is very important, and again, faith is not something that is created by science. Faith is abstract because there are a lot of discussion that people also have around it. If you have spirituality, and if you're spiritual in life, then you tend to believe that what's happening around you is a challenge thrown by God, and God is trying to test you. Now, the difference between putting something to God or putting something to a situation or the person is that when you start putting something to a person, when you blame a person or a situation, you never feel good about it. And you keep on blaming that person. You think bad about that person and think that the person should be given a punishment. If you are talking about a situation, if you're blaming a situation, you try to blame a situation, but you are in a victim mode. But when you start thinking, then it's God who is trying to test you. And if you are really positive, and if you're really spiritual, and if you have a mindset, then you also try to think that, I'm very lucky that I'm getting these challenges now. What if I would have had those challenges some time back? So in 2018, and again, very real example, I work for an organization which is called Royal DSM. It's a Dutch-based organization. It's world's number one in science and nutrition. I travel a lot. So my boss, reporting manager, is based out of Sittard, which is one of the places in the Netherlands. I travel a lot, and I had crazy working hours, very honestly speaking. Now, because of crazy working hours, because of eating in Netherlands, because out there the food is not great, it's not fresh. Those countries, they do not get fresh food, fresh vegetables for that matter. And because of less exercise and because of a lot of socializing, I started gaining weight a lot. And so much of weight that at one point of time, my spine tilted towards the right. Nothing wrong with the bone, but it was my nerves that became extremely weak. They could not handle my weight. I started doing physiotherapy that really did not help, because and then I had to go to the MRI and everyone. And they said that you need to do a lot of exercise. You need to do a work from home for a month. So I requested my boss and I started doing work from home, and I used to do exercise. So there was a great trainer who used to come. I'm very lucky to have that physiotherapy. Without him, I wouldn't be what I am today, because it really, really helped me. But one of the things that I always remembered, and I am 38, 2018, I was 36. And I've always used to think that I am really, really thankful to the God that I have this condition now. What if I would have had this condition at the age of 50? How would I have even managed? Because the exercise that I was doing were very difficult. There were spine exercises. I used to get sweat because of the exercise I'm doing. And I used to imagine that if I would have had this problem at the age of 50, this wouldn't have happened. So all of a sudden, a situation where people will definitely go and think negative. I was very positive. Spirituality does that to you, that it, instead of you putting blame on others, you start thinking that God is putting you in a challenge. And when you know that God is putting up to your challenge, you also know that God will reward you if you come out with a positive attitude, if you have faith, if you have strong willpower, if you are hardworking, if you're honest. If you have all that, God will certainly give you a big reward. So all of a sudden, a situation without spirituality, and it's not that, guys, you have to be spiritual for this, but it becomes easy. It becomes easy when you pin things on God. You become very positive. So in that way, it has really helped me. I will certainly try all of you to think. And and guys, very very important, guys, very very important, you guys are extremely upset, and some people are of course shattered also, that what has happened to us. Think about it. How old are you? You are in your 20s, if I'm not wrong. Think about the people. If you go to LinkedIn, there are people who are 15 years in the career, 16 years in the career, who have lost their jobs. I'm not saying that you have to compare yourself with them, but always thank God that thank God this has happened to us now, where we could still go ahead and invest in some learning, where it would probably only put a small dent to our career life, where we probably have to struggle for 6 months or let's say a year. But look at the people who've been working for a long time. What would have happened to them? What would happen to them? When you start thinking on those lines, you become very positive. You do not have negative thoughts around you, and you are less distracted, and you focus on your continuous learning. So spirituality helps in that ways. I hope I was able to answer the question.
Yeah, yeah. And Asha Jacob, she is asking like how to become pleasant every day by managing the naughty kids. A part of life. That's why.
Absolutely. Naughty kids, huh? Well, how to become pleasant? One of the things that I always try is to have a smile and have a mirror around you. Whenever you smile, just look at you. Smile is one of the things that takes away a lot of negative things from you all the time. That's the first thing that you should always do. We never look at our smile. We always look at someone else's smile and say, "What a beautiful smile." We would never look at our smile. If you sometimes comb your hair, you're very serious. You look at your nose, you look at your eyes, you look at your hair all the time. But we never look at us when we smile. So always make it a point when you get up, you have a smile on your face. It's also important, and it really helps if you have a message somewhere on a wall which you always look whenever you're getting up. It could be anything. For kids, but I think that managing kids, if you want to manage them, manage, is the most difficult thing ever. I doubt if anyone has any answers around it. But if you start thinking, if you start enjoying being with them, and again, the point is that sometimes we think of kids because we have to do a lot of things simultaneously, right? I'm on a call and I see a kid coming in and will disturb, and then I will think, what will happen if my kid comes in, and those kind of things. Well, just don't think on those lines. People who are working from home always remember that home belongs to the kids and the wives. And my boss and my company, and a lot of companies always say that. In fact, in my companies now, normally people call their kids so that they say hi, and they become extremely comfortable, and we are extremely comfortable kids coming on the screen. But play with the kids. If you play with the kids, you will realize that you'll never get fat, or you'll reduce calories like hell. You'll also realize when you look at the kids as to how careless they are. And that's a great thing in today's world, guys. I think we care for everything, and sometimes in the name of care, we worry about everything. We think for about everything. Looking at the kids, you realize that that's actually the life that you really want. Looking at the kids or the old people, actually, that's the life that you really want. Think about your life when you were kids. You never had this sort of attention. Even if it's raining, you'll go out playing. You'll play cricket. I remember, because I was born in Delhi, and cricket is a game, it's a religion. I'd play game, I'll play cricket with my friends, and if there's a phone call coming in or my mom's calling me, I would never come. And if it's June, and people who are from North India would know that June is 48, 49, we'll play cricket. Just doesn't really care. But now if it's like 48, 49, I'll always think about, hey, something would happen to my skin. What will happen if I'll get a heat stroke? Should I drink more water? These are unnecessary tensions. So kids teach us those kind of things. So instead of managing kids, yeah, play with them, make them comfortable with what they are. Think of this, guys, that if in today's session, I would have probably given you the presentations and I would have said that I will only give you presentation and I'm not going to take any questions and I would run it the way I want to run. How much enjoy would you guys have? Think about it. Dr.
Yeah,
Venkat
yeah.
and I, Dr. Rab and I connected 3 4 times before, but whenever we connected, like friends, where we're pulling each other leg. If we would have had a formal organization, a formal conversation, then he wouldn't had a start with me. You wouldn't have that relationship that we with me. So the first thing that you always do to kids, to anyone, is to probably give them the comfort space. Kids are there for a reason. Kids are there for a reason. They would create mischiefs. They are naughty. That's what kids are. If your kids are extremely serious, then it's like a young Sheldon, which is one of the sitcoms, and that is a myth. That is actually a myth. I have not seen any kid who would behave that way. So accept kids the way they are, enjoy with them, enjoy the life, look at them, analyze how careless they are, smile with them, stay happy, stay healthy, and just always have at least smile on your face and always look at something, uh, a mirror, and probably smile whenever you probably have a problem. Look at the smile, and I'm pretty sure that'll take away a lot of things.
Yeah,
I hope
rightly
that answers
said.
the question.
Yeah, yeah. Because you have to be in a situation like, you be like that. अब बच्चों के साथ हो तो बच्चों के जैसे रहो, बड़ों के साथ हो तो बड़ों के जैसे रहो. It's said in
Absolutely.
Hindi.
और
Yeah,
दूसरी चीज, बिकॉज आई कैन इमेजिन कि काफी लोग नॉर्थ से भी हैं, मैं नॉर्थ का भी हूँ,
yeah,
कि यार
yeah,
देखो यार, बड़ों के साथ ही बच्चों की तरह रहो.
yes,
बहुत ज्यादा सीरियस मत लो लाइफ को,
yes,
क्योंकि लाइफ को बहुत ज्यादा सीरियस ले लोगे तो लाइफ फिर स्ट्रेस ही देगी. लाइफ को थोड़ा सा इजी लो, लाइफ
yeah,
को आसान लो. जितना आसान
yeah,
लोगे उतना इट विल बिकम इजी फॉर यू टू मैनेज थिंग्स. डिफिकल्ट लोगे ना तो हर चीज डिफिकल्ट ही लगेगी, ये गारंटी है.
yes.
So just take it easy, and I'm pretty sure that it'll be a roller coaster for all of us.
Yes, there are a lot of questions on stress, like how to manage stress. I'm working and then I'm feeling stress in the college. So there are a couple of questions, something like 3 to 4 questions on stress. So how to manage stress?
Well, let me tell you one thing, that stress is nothing. I don't know if you guys have read Mahabharat. I'm sorry, Gita, but I'm sure that most of you people have watched Mahabharat. And in Mahabharat, there was a character called Bhishma Pitama, which we all know, great warrior, right? And if you guys also remember that Bhishma Pitama uh, was someone who's blessed with the death whenever he wants, death by his own wish. Stress is the same thing. In fact, in Gita, if you read Gita, Gita says that that war did not happen physically, that was mental war. And Bhishma Pitama were, considered as delusion. And I also call that as stress, because delusion also creates a lot of stress, because delusion means overthinking. When you overthink, that stress comes. Guys, if there is an exam coming in, when there is an exam coming in, why do we always think that, oh my God, an exam is coming in, and if I don't clear the exam, this will happen to me, or if I do not get distinction, that this will happen to me. Those thoughts are something that are not real at all. Think about the situations, and this happens to all of us. We all think that, oh my God, pandemic is happening and this is what is happening. What if I don't get the job in 2 3 years? What if the job doesn't happen, I don't get in 4 years, 5 years? How do you know that? If you ask this question, you'll say, no, I don't know that. Then why do you think this way? Which is why it is extremely important that you control and overpower your mind. Because if you don't overpower your mind, your mind will overpower you. And because we live in dark ages, like in Hindi we call it Kali Yuga, right? We tend to generate negative thoughts. Positive thoughts तो आते ही नहीं. किसको आते हैं बताओ? टेलीविजन में हम क्या देखते हैं? एक्शन मूवीज देखते हैं, या कुछ हॉरर मूवी देखेंगे, या विल वॉच समथिंग क्राइम क्रिमिनल. The problem is we do not watch it, we relate it, we start imagining it. We start watching the Savdhan India, then we always think, yeah, oh, this has happened, this may happen to someone who I know, this may happen to someone like us. This is unnecessary stress, and there is no medicine for stress. There is no medicine. People who tell you that this is a medicine of stress, they are there to loot you. I can guarantee you. They just want to probably play around with you. There is no way that you could take care of the stress. You could have a situation, they can create an atmosphere, and in that atmosphere, you probably will not feel it. But once you come out of that atmosphere, you will start feeling it. Imagine go to ashram and stay in the ashram for a week. In ashram, you have that situation, you have that environment where you would not feel stressed because everyone is chanting. You'll also chant, you'll eat sattvic food. There's no television, there is a morning walk, there is people are talking about God and everything. You'll feel good about it because I've had that experience. But when you come out, you'll start living in the world. The world hits you again. But the most important thing is, again, to control your mind, because stress is unreal, guys. It is not real. It is not there. What is there is what will happen if you take that much of stress. You are creating that thing to happen by taking so much of stress. If you are thinking that what will happen if I don't score that much, or if this will happen if I don't score much, because now your focus is distracted, you will not put that much of effort. And if you don't put that much of effort, that thing will bound to happen. So you're creating that situation for yourself, which would have not happened, but because you're taking that much of stress, now that will happen to you. Please avoid that. I hope that answers the question. I
Yeah,
also
and
saw, yeah, please, doctor, go ahead.
yeah, it is said like, the way you think, the way you'll act. So it's all
Correct.
about your thinking. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
continue, sir. Yeah, continue, sir.
I also saw one of the messages, because the messages are also popping in. Someone is saying the book. I would not suggest you books about giving a lot of gyan, guys, because trust me, giving a lot of gyan without a biography is all farce. But if I were to give you something, I would want you to read The Wings of Fire. Wings of Fire is a biography of Dr. Abdul Kalam Azad. I'm sure you all know them. You know from where he started his journey and where he became. You read that book, that's 100 pages book. That's a very, very informative and very motivational book. Read Steve Jobs. Great guy. Of course, the way he was managing few things was different, but the way he fought, he was thrown out of the company that he created and he came back. Read Elon Musk. He had so much of physical abuse when he started. He had so much of challenges. He was completely in distress, in duress. He was completely bankrupt. He had taken so much of loan till the time the SpaceX launched their first rocket. Read about them. Read about Subhash Chandra Bose. Read about Mahatma Gandhi. Read about these people, and these people are there. You know that, and when you read about them, you'll know that because these people are real, and you know that these people are legends. You'll also know that the story is true. And most of these people and all of these people probably had a huge challenge, bigger challenge that you guys had. You guys are worrying about the fact that we may get a little less job. Think about the fact that you completely are bankrupt. You are under $1 million of debt, or something that you've created, and you've been a boss, you've been thrown out of that. Think about the fact that you have to probably travel long distance to learn English or learn the language. And then if you achieve something, think on those lines. So again, coming back and relating this to stress, this is all about stress, but read these people. There's no specific book. Go online, search these people, and I'm pretty sure that if you start reading it, it takes a little time, but biography at least is much more alive. You can relate to people. These are people that you know. It will create interest. And once you start reading them, discuss it with your friends. I also saw one of the messages and someone said that we get this straight in the college. Ensure that you have right company, guys. Not everyone is positive, and I have to be very honest with you. And one of the things that we have given up, I don't know why, is we've given up physical sports. We start watching, doing YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. These are good things, but guys, technology is something that you guys have created. And what are we talking in technology these days? Think about it. It's all farce. Putting pictures there, and then it again keep makes you a little happy probably while looking at someone, but after that you again come back to the same state. Again, the one thing that I said before, I'm going to say it again. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility only, and it would not help if you spend your time on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. If you want to be on YouTube and if you're great in what you do, I'll always suggest to probably create a homepage for yourself, an account for yourself, and post inspirational videos or post any skill that you have. That'll give you likes, and that's also one of the ways of earning money. There are a lot of YouTubers who earn so much amount of money. People who probably are creative, who have a high sense of humor, people who can probably put informative videos. Putting videos is not very difficult, guys. You know that. In fact, I've been thinking about it, but I have very less time. But it's good. At least with that, you would know that you're contributing towards the society. Someone said they want to cure mental illness. Probably talk about your own experience, put it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure someone who probably is seeking positive help will search that and use it in a right way is what I'm trying to say. If you want to go on Facebook, and Facebook, there are a lot of skill groups that you have. So one of the groups that I've joined is Lean Six Sigma Hyderabad. I've joined IIT Hyderabad group. Go to these groups, search these group MBA groups, and be a part of those groups. If you're in these groups, people talk about academics, people talk about the case studies, people talk about their experience. When you're part of these groups, you learn a lot. Always remember, guys, you are defined by the company that you keep in. If your company is great, you will come out of it. If your company is bad, it doesn't really matter what you are, how much you've achieved. Failure is the only endpoint that you will achieve or you will be at. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. So there's a couple of questions from Facebook also. One
Okay.
among that is, in the morning you have this laughing clubs,
Right.
right? So how far that will lead to the positive mindset? Yours.
Very honestly, guys, and my thought, laughing, as I was mentioning earlier as well, people can put a smile on your face. I'm pretty sure you can watch something, you can go and laugh, but it's your mind that needs to be relaxed. If someone puts a smile on your face and if you join a club, it is actually a time based, a time bound. Till the time you're there, you enjoy what's happening. It's great. And that is for anything that you do. At the end of the day, it is your own responsibility. It'll help you, but very limited. You have to permanently change your mind and change the way you see things, that change the way you see situations, and then do it. And it's not easy, guys. I'm be very honest with you guys. I've not achieved success in that. There are areas when I also falter, I also overreact. But I have something called a reflection. I always reflect back and think I could have done it better. But I do not ponder over it. I do not overthink. But these laughter groups would certainly help, but it would not help you a lot for long if you do not want to change yourself and you're only joining them so that you think that you probably can get some laugh out of it. Because again, your life, your heart, and your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility only. I hope that answers the question.
Yep. Uh, there's yeah, Gates Institute of Management student. She is asking like, how do one practice positive self-talk? Tejasvi.
Well, positive self-talk can always be started if you keep one liner with yourself all the time. I was managing a team in 2018, and that was purchasing department. The department had moved from different countries, so I was managing North America, I was managing Europe, I was managing Switzerland, I was managing Asia Pacific, Australia, China, Japan. So because of a lot of movement, a lot of work came in, and at that time people were learning, so we came up with a lot of backlog. And in purchasing, what happens is you pay invoices. If you don't pay invoices on time, it becomes a problem. So when I joined this team, I saw a plethora of backlog. One of the things that we started is we put a slogan on our desk, and that slogan was, "We don't sleep when we are tired, we sleep when we are done." And what we started doing was, anytime and every time we created a WhatsApp group for ourselves. Whenever we are saying something, we always are saying this at the end. Whenever we are dropping an email to someone, we are saying this. Whenever we are meeting someone over a cup of coffee, cup of tea, we are saying this. This created such a DNA in the people that they started believing it. We needed people to work extra hours and we were paying for it. But it's not easy when you ask people to work on overtime because it's mentally and physically stressful. But only when you take stress, because people started believing that, you know what, I'll only rest when the backlog is reduced, and that will happen for us. And we would not take rest just because we are tired. It started impacting the mental model that we have. Mental model is also something that we refer to as way of working. So the way of working for us was such that it does not really matter. People started working, they used to report out, and in 6 months, and the management, the leadership management said in 10 months, you will take 10 months to reduce this backlog to zero. We took only 6 months to make that backlog to zero. I always have something that I always keep on my WhatsApp whenever I see it, and I'm more of a quality person, so I always write that quality starts within, then moves around. So it always gives me a sense that I need to ensure that I practice quality before I propagate it, before I preach it. I believe in spirituality, and I always think about it. So I practice this first before I share. Whatever I'm sharing with you is all experience. So these one-liners really help. You could also look at the mirror and you can also talk to it. I think and this thing really helps. Sometimes if you have a mirror and you start talking to, and you tell mirror that you're not like this, you're a different person, you are much more harder. If you guys have heard of Muhammad Ali, right? Cassius Clay, one of the biggest, the greatest
Sports
professional
person,
boxing bong,
boxing.
absolutely. He had written when he used to practice, and he used to do sit-ups, and if you read his biography, he would say that he would do sit-ups unless and until it would hurt. And we know how many sit-ups can we do, 10, 20, and he would do sit-ups unless and until it would hurt. And when he would practice, he would have one liner on his wall, that if it is to be, it is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. And he would read that, he would say that again and again. And guys, this is very contagious. If you start saying inspirational lines, inspirational words, they get into your head, because ultimately your mind consumes what you're reading, what you're watching. If you start reading something positive, if you start watching something positive, automatically your mind starts consuming things that are positive. And your mind starts consuming something positive, it gives positive signals to your body, which results into positive actions. And again, this his story, right? Positive mind, positive thoughts, positive action, positive character, and of course, success. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. And there's a question here from Bhavna Pandey. She is asking, be in a different mindset person and in opposite situation, what to do and how to manage. I want to say you are confronting some person. Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
doctor, you were saying something. Sorry, can you repeat
No,
the question?
yeah. So Bhavna Pandey, she is asking, being in a different mindset person. So in
Mhm.
opposite situation, what to do and how to manage. I'm going to say you're confronting with a person who is just opposite to you in everything. So how
Right.
to manage such situation?
Well, that's a very good question, because this happens all the time to us. One of the easiest way is to have something called advocacy and inquiry. And those are these very different words, but I'll tell you very, very simply. Guys, if you want to do something, and if you have a view in your mind, you'll always have a logic, right? अगर कुछ करना है लाइफ में, if आपको कुछ करना है लाइफ में, if कुछ बनना है लाइफ में, या कुछ खाना है लाइफ में, कुछ पहनना है लाइफ में, एक लॉजिक होता है हमारे दिमाग में, एक व्यू होता है, so why we want to do it. Now, whenever you are giving views or supporting your own view, that's called advocacy. जब आप एडवोकेट बन रहे हो, लोग बोलते हैं भैया देखो अपनी बातें कर रहा है. But second thing is inquiry. Inquiry is when you are trying to understand the viewpoint of someone else who has a different view. जब आप किसी को confront करते हो, when you're confronting someone, always ensure that you have a balance in both. So tell that if you have a different view, tell that I have a different thought, and this is my thought. And then give the view also that this is the reason as to why I think this way. And then ask the other person that you have a different thought. How did you arrive at this view? Guys, if you are dealing with someone who's negative, then you'll realize that the views or the logic that that person is completely unreal and completely illogical. But if you have someone who probably has a strong view, a logical view, then you'll realize that it has a lot of facts around it. So if the situation is such where the facts are from both the sides, then you can decide who has better facts, who has a bigger picture view, and then you go it accordingly. If you have someone who probably have a view which is based out on the emotions, then you explain that there are no facts. But one of the important thing, one of the key things that you need to keep in mind is you are not doing a conversation to win an argument. होता क्या लाइफ में कि जब हमें लगता है कि we have a stronger view, and again I'm talking about preconceived notion, there is a stronger view that I have, then I'll always say कि boss यही सही है. We have already decided that this is what it is. And when you've already decided what it is, then it doesn't really matter what other person says. Even if he's right, you would not listen. And the problem is when the other person realizes that you do not want to listen to the other person, then you know that the other person will not show any interest, or the person will fight or support his view as aggressively as you are. Dono cases may there is no success. So one of the things that you have to always keep in mind is that, guys, that I'm not here to win. I'm here to do a logical conversation. आज आप लोगों के साथ, and you guys are 100, 200 plus, and of course your mind and your brightest mind of the country. I do not stand anywhere in front of you. मगर अगर आज मैं आप लोगों से ऐसे बात करूं, भाई, I know everything. I am the ocean of knowledge. Trust you me, you guys will realize कि यार he is very arrogant. But if I go and say that, guys, I can share my views, I can share my experience, but if there is something where I think I am also learning, and if I would learn something, I will duly acknowledge, then the conversation is very positive. Then the conversation is very constructive because I am not here to justify my views or my experience. I am also realizing the fact that someone may have a view which is better, which is more intelligent, which is close to life, and probably something that I can learn out of it. And when you have that mindset, स्ट्रेस और प्रेशर नहीं होता यार, क्योंकि स्ट्रेस और प्रेशर तो बहुत टाइम इसलिए भी होता है when we always try to ensure that we win an argument, when we win a contest. A lot of the conversations, a lot of the movies, a lot of these flamboyant leaders, and not questioning anyone, but you have also would have come across who probably say that, just like a lawyer, or just like in the movies where you see a hero lawyer, right, where he would saying a dialogue and the other person is not saying anything, and I'll also probably ensure that I support my logic in such a way that the other person cannot say anything. And when you see other person saying something, you realize, oh my god, he has said something, but I would always support my own dialogue. You'll realize that the conversation is not going anywhere. So please have a balance of advocacy and inquiry, and please have a mindset that you're not there to win an argument, but you're there to do a meaningful conversation with no fear, even if you lose an argument, because at the end of the day, you will come out of that conversation with something that you've learned, which is better than what you had, or a better view that you had when you started with that conversation. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, yes. And in most of the conversation, listening skills need to be more than the speaking skills.
Absolutely. I just cannot stress much on what Dr. has said, guys. Listening is gold, speaking is silver.
Yes,
Listening
absolutely
is
right.
listening is giving respect to someone else. We
Yes.
have, and trust me, guys, people talk about stress, people talk about thinking negative. If you start listening to others, you'll realize that you will have a better control on the conversation, and the preconceived notion that gets created, it'll reduce, because apna mind itna tez hai, that we think faster than we speak. So even if we are hearing someone, or even if we're looking at someone's expression, we assume something. It has happened to me once. I was 5 years back, I was giving a lecture, and I saw one person just making a note of it and not even looking at it, looking at me. And I said, what is this person? He's not attentive. And I said, I'll go and I'll speak with his vice president. But I said, no, let me not do that. Let me just ask that person. And I went to that person after the session ended, and I said, boss, I'm giving you knowledge. I think it's important that you participate. Well, sir, I'm participating. I'm making a note of things that I really, really liked. And that was a shock for me, because I had a preconceived notion. Guys, at that time also, I was a master black belt, and I'm a master black belt from ASQ, which is American Society for Quality, which is world's #1. And I cracked the class by 91%. So I'm very, very sharp. But I realized that I was so I was just completely clean bowled by something very simple that I just did not understood, and I did not give that person a chance, or did not hear him. I assumed, and that's what we do most of the time. Sometimes we assume something. My request to you guys is that please, if you have a preconceived notion, if you realize that something is getting into your head, please be fearless. And I always say fearless, and confront that person. If you confront that person, you'll realize 60 to 70% of the time that person has a thought, that person has a view which is very opposite or very different to what you're actually thinking. I hope that answers the question, doctor. I hope that
Yes, yes,
helps.
absolutely. Yes, and there's a question from Shreyansh Jain. He's asking, what could you be grateful for and positive about right now if you really wanted to?
Well, and the person who is asking, I'm pretty sure that that person has a home,
Yeah.
that person has two legs, that person has two eyes, that person has two arms, that person has a brain, that person gets food. But there are a lot of things to be grateful of, and you're alive. You think about the people who are outside still working really hard because they have to work hard and exposing themselves to a lot of things, risking themselves. Guys, again, this is political, this is made political, but again, you know what has happened in Indochina, right? You know what recently had happened. Imagine, and how much does our government really pay to these soldiers? The salary is not much, unless and until you reach to a level. Their salary is not much. They get facility, but the salary is not much. How do they get the positivity of safeguarding us when they know that probably during the process they may lose their life? And we, having a house, having everything working, still question and challenge the happiness that we're getting and may not be grateful. And sorry, whoever had asked this question, this is how I had to respond. I couldn't think of anything else. And this is not a question to you. This is something that we all think. But sometimes it's extremely important that we are grateful to where we are versus we look around and realize where those people are actually. And this is a time where we are should be lot of compassionate. Look at the animals. I'm a big dog lover. What has happened to the animals now? Because people were not coming out. There was a time there was lockdown. Who were feeding them? We were feeding them before, but those stray dogs, what has happened to them? No one's feeding them. And I feel so pity for them. I feel so bad for them. I feel so bad, as to they can't even ask for these things. They can't do anything about it. And we, as someone who probably are the highest developing species on this planet, have got so many things. We could still ensure that we could do so many positive things in our life. If there is nothing else, then help your mother to do chores, wash utensils, clean your house. This is all constructive. This is all hardworking. This will also ensure you to have a character, but just ensure that you're grateful to what's happening around you. When you're eating food, thank God that you're getting food, because there are a lot of people who are not getting food at all. There are a lot of people who probably have to step out to get food and probably take a lot of risk of what's happening around, but they have no other choice. So be grateful. And there are a lot of reasons, and these reasons are not only now, guys. These reasons are visible now, but these reasons are always there, and this really really helps you. Some people say that, why should we look at people who are below us? We should be looking at people that above us. Well, absolutely, you can look at people above us, but then also look as to how they've achieved there. We have a habit of looking at billionaires, millionaires, but we always forget the journey that they have. If you can look at them and also ensure that you will have the journey, or you walk into the footsteps, absolutely go ahead. That's the right way of doing it. But if you think you cannot do it because of resource crunch, because of anything, then look at the people who are below you, because that will ensure you to have a level of compassion and level of gratefulness that, yes, thank God I am here and not where they are. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well said, sir. So one more from Janardhana Raju. He is asking, sir, how can we find that one of the person mindset is positive or negative? I mean, so once you're confronting the other person, so how quickly we can judge, or I'm going to say, according to his question, how will come to know whether he is having a good intentions or bad, maybe?
Uh, that's a great question, but a very difficult question to answer. But I would first start with this, that, and I'm assuming that this person happens to be a part of your family, someone who you have an interest in. I think the easiest way to probably realize if the person is positive and negative is see around him and see what that person is actually doing. And of course, the way the person is also talking and what that person is talking about. Someone who's very positive, some
మనం ఎక్కడి నుంచి అక్కడ పోయాం?
Some
Yeah, I'll mute him. Sir, I muted him. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Someone who's negative, that person will always be reason oriented. You'll find that person to have a lot of reasons for anything and everything under the sun. These people sometimes are also very careless. That okay, it'll happen, that's okay, dekh lenge. You know, those people who probably move things to something which would never happen, and something they just put things to something which they would never do. They procrastinate a lot. They will do a lot of procrastination. You would realize that these people would have a high temper, you know, sometimes. And again, this is my experience, guys. I may be wrong here, but this is the experience that I've had. And these are the people who you would always find, because we always know what is meaningful and what is not meaningful in the life. You'll realize that a person is not doing something meaningful for him also, because that's not very difficult to understand. But again, there is no definition, there is no particular definition around it. I think one of the things that you probably can identify if that person has a positive mindset or not is to just do a dialogue with that person about things around what's happening and what is he doing. So I have a dialogue around what's happening around the world and what is he doing. And you'll realize that if that person is positive, he'll be talking about the good thing that he's trying to do, or experimenting with things, or probably doing, if not academically, doing something else, reading something probably, or helping their parents, or probably, you know, doing something towards society, probably feeding pets, feeding stray animals, anything actually. Those people normally are positive. But negative people are actually hard to tell in first conversation. It's not very easy. But again, the most important thing is that it's extremely important that we have our focus to ourselves, because always remember, guys, if you're positive and if you stay positive, negative people are either will either become positive for you, or they will leave your company. Can never stay with you if they want to be negative all the time. And that's what you should focus on. You should focus on improving yourself all the time, because if you can improve yourself, then you don't have to worry about who's negative. Because at the end of the day, either you want your people around you to have the same energy that you have, and or you want those person to get away from your life. And one of the easiest thing that I always do is that I always think and I identify the top phone call that I'm making. And I say that, okay, I'm making these 4 or 5 phone calls to 4 or 5 people. And now just thinking about the conversation that I've had with that person, what was that conversation all about? That also gives you an indication as to how that person is speaking. But again, do not put a blame game again, because you may have started that conversation yourself and not the other person. You may think that the other person is negative, but probably you started that conversation, and the other person just want to give you a little helping hand by acknowledging that conversation. So the easiest and the safest way is to work on yourself, be positive. That'll ensure that your company is positive, or the negative people just go away from you. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Second year, there's a question from Facebook. Second year MBA passed out student. Sir, about the jobs. So they are not getting the jobs. So in such situation, how to handle?
Guys, one of the things I would always tell you is that as of now, the market is a little bad, but because this is more of an industry driven question, and I can tell you something. One of the things that will happen very soon, once things start to open, and that will happen in quarter 3 end, is that a lot of organizations would want to hire people who drive continuous improvement, because they would need people who can drive efficiency. When I say efficiency, that means making a process more efficient. An efficient definition you guys know, which means that with less input you generate more. In manpower, that means you may need less people, but you deliver the same number of output as you had before. So someone who has a bend on continuous improvement would definitely have an edge. I belong to Lean Six Sigma industry, and we're still hiring people. Big people, these people are being hired. I've got people working in Novartis. Novartis is hiring people like hell for Lean Six Sigma, for creative thinking people, who can think creatively, you can create creative processes, who can make leaner processes. So the demand of such things will definitely improve. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science certainly will improve, because people would need processes to get automated that are completely repetitive in nature. People would want to have some mathematical logic in place for decision making process, and that's where artificial intelligence comes into play. Data science will be important to analyze data quickly, because people would not want their efforts to go in analyzing the raw data. Rather, they would want to have the dynamic dashboards that can give all the information, so that people can save time and make the organization more leaner. I would suggest that you start thinking around this and start thinking around how you can invest your time in this. Uh, if you possible, do some sort of a course, a small course, not very expensive, right? Because there's no point doing a very expensive course, but do a course that gives you a strong foundation, and then do a self-learning. There are a lot of books that I could always refer. And of course, Venkat can always, doctor can always touch base with me, and I can always suggest him, if there's a possibility, that if there is a possibility, because I do a lot of workshops with colleges, I or someone probably who's like a seasoned person in this fraternity or industry can support with things that are extremely in demand, with a course which is simple, economical. But again, these things are also online. You can also learn, figure it out. You have Six Sigma groups in Facebook. You have lean courses, and these methodologies are not very difficult unless and until you go in deep. But these are again mindsets. These are very, very easy to understand. And if you have that thought, then try to practice it in your own college. One of the things that we were very successful with IIT and BITS and Thapar was, in all three, we had professors who understood these methodologies. And in these colleges, when we went ahead, we did a workshop. So I'm not a firm believer of presentation. I saw one of the questions someone said that, sir, can you give me the presentation? I don't, this is not a presentation workshop. I don't like it. So with them also, we never do the training. We did a workshop where we explain the concept and tell them how did we apply it in the real scenario. And then they all picked up a few projects. So someone picked up a project from their cafeteria, someone picked up a project in their clinic. And I would suggest that if you probably understand this methodology, pick something from your own college. I'm sure your college will certainly support. Through that, you would know how to use this methodology. Of course, you may not have the perfect knowledge, because this takes a lot of time. I'm 10 years old in this methodology. I still know 5% of it, but at least you will have an understanding. And when you then go for an interview, saying that you understand this, you will certainly have an edge, because I myself hire people who have a bend on driving an optimized process. And I think one of the questions that someone had asked earlier is that I'm an MBA and there is no demand. I told that person also that if you can also have a bend on how to optimize and improve a process or a technology for that matter, and Lean Six Sigma is pervasive across, it is implemented everywhere. It can be implemented everywhere. And you can do a search on that, then you have an added skill and you stand as a differentiator when you're competing with someone else. So I would suggest that invest this time in adding a skill, and I'm pretty sure that that will certainly help you.
Yeah. Can we have the questions? Okay, it's 12:15 for you.
Guys, I can take
So
5 more minutes. I can take 5 more minutes, and then I'll have to probably leave. I'm sorry about that.
So maybe a last, maybe. I want to treat the mental illness of people. Which course I have to prefer? I am from MBA.
I suggested this actually. I spoke
Oh,
with someone had this question, and
yeah, yeah.
I will again suggest that guys don't do any course on curing mental illness, because a lot of people have done a lot of course. They're extremely intelligent people, but they are fighting depression. Course
Okay.
doesn't answer this. What the answers is your positive mindset and how you manage your life. If you are positive in life, and if you can manage the ups and downs of your life, you yourself have a lot of life lessons. And if you have a lot of life lessons, you could go ahead and then probably speak with people. You do not have to become a psychiatrist to manage mental illness. And unfortunately, mental illness is a condition that is everywhere. It's not only found in hospitals, it's found in corporate, it found in school, colleges, everywhere. So just be positive in your life, and if you're very positive and if you realize that you can think in a positive way and can manage and approach it, then ensure that you contribute to the society by ensuring that you work with the people. And one of the easiest thing that I always say is to probably put videos. One of the guy is Sandeep Maheshwari. I don't know if you guys know. He's a great motivational speaker, and he's very young. He's in early 30s. He's one of the top YouTubers. He is not a psychiatrist, but he posts motivational videos, and his videos definitely make sense. They're in Hindi, pure Hindi, because the guy is from Punjab. Amazing. Go and look it up. Sandeep Maheshwari. So please don't go for any course. Change your mindset, practice it, and then contribute towards society. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. So a lot of positive feedback that are coming.
That's very nice. I'm grateful to the people. I can take one last question.
Being
I remember there was one question around creativity.
Yeah, creativity. Yes, that
And do you remember the question? That question I really want to answer because creativity is in my DNA. If that's okay with everyone.
I was finding out that only.
Oh, I saw the question. So it was, what about creativity and emotions? Are they part of positive mindset? That was a question that was asked by J. Krishnamurthy.
Yes.
That's a good question. So, well, positive mind creativity is definitely a part of positive mindset. Emotional, little. I can explain very quickly. Well, creativity is someone who is multidimensional, someone who does not think linear. I am creative, which is why I love explaining this a little. When you are working with a creative person, the creative person is always thinking around finding solutions, but not in a linear way as such, not in a process way, but in any way where the question or the problem can be answered. Innovators are creative, actually. All the people, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, they are all creative people. They do not believe in a linear way of thinking. And it is definitely a part of positive mindset because creative people are always solution oriented. They're not problem oriented. I say less of emotion is because somewhere down the line, if you're very emotional, it doesn't help. When you're very emotional, sometimes you do not see things sometimes on a merit. Now, one of the things that we are all talking about is nepotism, right? Sushant Singh's death, people are talking about nepotism, but nepotism is common everywhere. It's in corporate. Everyone has someone's favorite. Now, being favorite is not bad. If you like someone very much, it's not really bad. But the point is that ensures that sometimes you overlook things that are better and you still stick to it. So I'm a North Indian guy, okay, and I love to eat something which is deep fry like puri or kulcha or chole bhature. I'm very biased about that. And though I call myself as a fitness freak because I walk and I eat avocado, I eat seasonal fruits, watermelon and all. But when it comes to chole kulche or puri, I always eat. And now, if you move this example to people actually or to situations, and you see someone probably pretty good at something, but for something he has a biasness, be it positive, but he's emotional towards it. When that thing comes, he may not be able to take a right decision because he's emotional and biased towards it. And that's why emotional is not a part of positive mindset. Controlling emotion is. If you can control emotions, then of course you are a positive mindset because you'll sometimes have to ensure that your emotions are also in check. Because your emotions are not in check, then sometimes you would do something which is not right, but you're doing it because you're emotional around it. Well, last two questions. So I just quickly read. One person said, if you learn from your own mistakes, why are you always so afraid to make a mistake? What habits requiring the least efforts that make the greatest difference? The first question, you should never be afraid to make mistakes. Even if you're afraid, you'll still make mistakes. But if you forget about fear and you change your thought from winning or losing to winning and learning, because mistakes are the best way as to how you can learn things, then you not fear mistake, because you know that mistake is an opportunity for you to learn something new that you did not learn before. If you do that, then mistakes will not be a problem, and I would strongly recommend that you do that. And then, what habits requiring the least effort that make the greatest difference? But the least effort thing is have faith, listen more, active listening, and invest in yourself, self-learning, even if that is for half an hour, and 10 or 15 minutes of meditation every day. This total would not take more than an hour, but it'll make a lot of difference. I hope that answers the question. And
We will wind up now.
yes,
Okay. I thank all the participants joining us from all over the India. Thanks a lot. And I hope you have enjoyed this session. Uh, so can you share your email so that, plenty of questions are coming so that we can.
sure. I can probably type it here itself. My email ID is a
Yeah.
little funny, guys. Uh, but if required, doctor, you and I probably can talk and probably see
Acha, chalo.
if something else is required, if at all, because putting I am trying to put, but I'm not able to. But I'll message you, doctor. Don't worry.
Yes, sure.
I will
Yeah.
message you.
So I thank Sandeep sir for being with us and motivating all. It was very informative, very knowledgeable, and moreover, I hope the participants have gained a lot. And that's what I was saying. This is the moment where people are going to see a change maybe in their life, because there were some comments there. They was telling like, yeah, once you said you have to do what's there in your mind and be positive. So a lot of participants have commented on there. I thank one and all on behalf of Gates Institute of Management and Sciences. Stay happy and stay at home, and God bless you all. Jai Hind.
Join, guys. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys.
கொண்டாட்டங்களையும் தவிர்க்கும்படி ஆனாலும் போஸ்டர்கள், நலத்திட்ட உதவிகள் என கொண்டாடி கொண்டுதான் இருக்கிறார்கள் ரசிகர்கள். தங்கள் தளபதி அரசியல் அரங்கிலும் வெற்றி கொடி நாட்டுவார் என்பது அவர்களது நம்பிக்கை. தொடரும் செய்திகளை சுருக்கமாக பார்க்கலாம். கொரோனா முழுமுடக்கம் மற்றும் மீன்பிடி தடை காலம் காரணமாக கடந்த 3 மாதங்களாக மீன்பிடிக்க செல்லாமல் இருந்த நாகை மாவட்ட விசைப்படகு மீனவர்கள் மீண்டும் இன்று கடலுக்கு சென்றனர். நாகை மீன்பிடி துறைமுகத்தில் நேற்று முன்தினம் நடைபெற்ற கூட்டத்தில் இன்று முதல் விசைப்படகு மீனவர்கள்